Are we on Facebook too?
No, just YouTube.
Okay. Not on Instagram?
And do that on Zoom.
I can't see me anymore. Okay, it's saying okay, so that's why.
Okay. Hello, everyone, Reset community. I'm so happy to have all of you on tonight or this afternoon, wherever you may be watching, whatever time zone you may be in, or if you're going to be doing
I
the
can't see
replay.
me anymore.
Sorry.
Okay, it's saying okay, so that's why.
Okay. So if you're hello, everyone, Reset community. I'm so happy to have all of you on tonight or this afternoon, wherever you may be watching, whatever time zone you may be in, or if you're going to be doing this
Can't see
replay.
me anymore.
Okay. Are you there?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, everyone. Happy Saturday to everyone on tonight that will be watching. This is the Reset Blueprint podcast, and I'm so happy to have this wonderful woman on with me who is my mother. Her name is Yolanda Pritchett, and this Mother's Day weekend has begun, and so there's no better guest to have on this podcast other than my mother on for this special occasion. So, Mom, can you share with the Reset community 3 fun facts about yourself?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say thank you for inviting me to be a part of your community. And can I say something? You look like Chance the Rapper with that cap on. You're so handsome. But anyway, okay. 3 fun facts about myself.
Yes.
One is I love to cook. Um, I love to read, um, about historic events, people, places, and things. Um, and I just love learning new things. That's I love learning new things. Love trying new things.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Um, so again, we are in Mother's Day weekend, and you have been raised by, just say, two amazing women, but for being my grandmother Daisy Lee Norwood, and then her mother, which we affectionately known as Big Mama. Looking at those two ladies, two women that were great women and great assets and examples in your life, when looking at them and thinking back and recollecting on, let's just do Grandma Daisy, what comes to mind when you think of motherhood or being a mom? What comes to mind to you?
Wow, there's so many things come to my mind when it comes to my mother, but one thing I can say is her resilience, her ability to bounce back after, so many things that she had gone through and her strength, the strength I seen in her.
Yeah. And being that you saw that strength in her, do you believe that you could, because I always hear you say, I don't know how mama could have had, was how many was it, 13, 12 or 13?
There were 12.
12. You always
Yeah,
say, I don't know how she could do it with 12, and you could barely do it with me, just one child. But
right.
do you believe that strength that she had, it has been spilled over to you, or has been shared with you to even raise just one child, being that she raised 12, seeing all of that what she endured, they went through the civil rights movement, and I don't know if she really went through the phase of slavery, but she was definitely in that era. Do you believe what she experienced has been indwelt within you on how to be a mother, a strong mother, and to carry the load of motherhood?
Almost definitely. Just looking at you, reflects back, or I can go back and say, you know what, you're who you are from the strength that your grandma Daisy imparted into me. And just watching her, she didn't have to do a lot of talking or, you know, pounding strength in us. We watched her. We watched her, um, you know, to be able to cook meals for what, 10 people. We came home to a very clean home every day. We didn't go to school raggedy. We didn't go to school hungry. And that was just from the strength of my mother. The strength, the courage, you know, she loved her children. And so yeah, that strength, that's probably why I'm still here, is just because of her strength. And I pull off of her strength. So if that answers your question.
She wasn't just a mother, she was also a wife. And so even looking at that aspect of being not just the mother side of her, but the wife side of her, what three traits have you I wouldn't say stolen, but at least you have been blessed with to take on that you believe that mama used to do this, so I'm doing this as being a wife. What are those three traits?
As far as being a wife, um, being faithful, being a faithful wife, even when things aren't that great at home, but still being faithful, still holding true to the values of what it means to be a wife. And I got that from my mother. And I watched her, and her and my dad used to have some heated conversations, but yet and still, she fixed his lunch every morning. She had his dinner prepared for him every time he'd come in from work. And so, yeah, that I get all of that. All of this, I get what you see me do as a wife, it comes from my mother. And I won't say the good, the bad, and the ugly because I didn't see a lot of ugly in my mother. I seen a lot of strength, a lot of courage, a lot of wisdom, staying there when it wasn't pleasant all the time. But because she knew that she had a charge on her life, she had these children that she had to take care of, and she had a great husband. My father was just as great as my mom was. So we're not talking about him today. This is my time.
That's right. And being that you have um have seen that example, that great example through her, you are definitely a great mother. Um,
Thank
so
you.
hello to everyone that's watching. Janine said, Yolanda, you look beautiful. And
Thank you.
thank you to everyone that's logging on. Please share this podcast with someone because we are in a season right now that people have lost their mothers, or they're not even, their mothers are still living and they do not have communication or even a relationship with their mother due to a myriad of situations that came up that only themselves and God knows. So I want you to talk to that daughter or to that son who may be watching that may have that type of relationship with their mother or they've lost a mother. How did you overcome that first Mother's Day without your mother? What came to your mind? What emotions came up, and how did you cope? What tools can you provide?
It's a great question. Um, Let me say this, that my mother has been gone. I believe it was in '07. So she's been gone a while, but there's not a day that goes by that I don't think of my mother or that I don't wish I had my mother to walk me through some of my difficulties that I'm facing even right now. But back to your question, um, the only thing that got me through it was that I believe it was because our mother, my mother, taught us how to make it without her. No, she didn't really talk a whole lot about death, but she input in us skills and values, and she taught us things, and she modeled for us what it meant to be a good woman or a good wife or a good friend. She modeled all of those things. And therefore, me and my four sisters, we saw this. Well, my older sister, she had already moved out. So me and my three sisters, we saw all of this. Our mother modeled a lot of this. We saw her cooking. We saw her paying the bills. Like I said, when we would come home from school, our house was clean. We were clean children. We wasn't sent to school with nappy hair and raggedy clothes. And no, we were not rich. We were not even probably what you would call middle class. But I didn't know it. And that was because of the way our parents raised us. I didn't know it. I didn't know I was poor. And I wasn't poor, but I didn't know it because they never let me in on it. But anyway, back to your question again. Um, So no, it hasn't been easy. It's not easy. But again, I think I was able to get through it, or, we were able to get through it is because she taught us how to live without her. And again, she didn't really talk to us a lot about death, but she instilled all those values in us. So we knew how to navigate and make it without her. We knew how to lean on the Lord. She definitely taught us that. And we knew how to lean on each other. I had my sisters. I'm the youngest of all my siblings. So it was incredibly hard for me. But I had my sisters. I had a great community of older women at my church. They were right there to hold us up. So yeah, that's what got us through it. Is just just our mom, just watching her being this great woman who didn't have a whole lot, but boy, did she have wisdom.
And we quote the scripture, we quote the Proverbs 31 woman, and verse 25, it says she is clothed with strength and dignity. She can laugh at the days to come. You know, so we're going the title of this episode, or this podcast episode, is called She Still Stands. And you've endured a lot in your life where you could be, as the Proverbs 31 woman said, you probably can say you cried at the days to come, then laugh. But we know what it means. She can laugh at the days to come, is that showing that strength, that no matter how much life lifes us, you can still by faith laugh because God is your strength. But going into your life and how you can still stand, you can talk about your first encounter with being hit with a sickness that shook our entire family. I'm safe to say, and how that cultivated your ability to laugh at life, or laugh at the days that were to come after you were diagnosed with that um, diagnosis.
Yes. It was probably around the year, ooh, let me see, you were probably 2 years old, so maybe 2000. Um, I had noticed spots, little spots on my forehead and on my stomach area, little spots on my arms, but I didn't think anything of it. Just thought it was due to me being pregnant, and I just thought they would soon go away, or I was told you could put cocoa butter on them, so on the spots, and it would go away. However, that didn't happen. So it was during the time when I went back for my checkup, and the doctor noticed these spots, and she asked, could she run a blood test? And I told her, sure. And so a couple of days later, she calls back, and she calls me and my husband into her office, and she tells me I have scleroderma. And I'm like, sclera what? And she said scleroderma. So she proceeds to explain to us what this disease and what it meant. Sclera meaning hardening of the skin, derma means skin. And so she right away wanted to send me over to a lung specialist because usually this is where this disease attacks. And sure enough, it had already began to attack my lungs when they did all the testing and everything. I think there were over 20 tumors on each of my lungs. And so, for the sake of time, I won't get all off into that. But so yeah, that's something that I've had since 2000, or I don't know when I had it because they're still trying to find out where did this disease come from? Is it environmental? Is it hereditary? Well, again, I had never heard of it. And so through research and now it's becoming more prevalent than ever, they're really trying to find out, where's it coming from? And so I've seen many, many doctors. I was told that my skin would pull tight, and it has. One doctor even jokingly said she wished she had it. So, us women are very vain. She said that because she didn't want her skin to wrinkle. Well, I'm like, well, you can have it if you want it. You can take mine. But anyway, with all of that said and done, the disease is, I was told by one doctor that I probably wouldn't live to see 50. Hopefully, with prayer, August 6th, I will be 60 years old. Um, I am an amazement to the doctors. Yeah, the disease causes a lot of pain and fatigue and all of that, but yet and still, I know that God has purpose for me here, and that's why I'm still here, living with scleroderma. They've tried me on different medications. Right now, I'm not on any medications for scleroderma. Um, but yeah, it's still active. The lungs still have their challenges, but that part where the tumors are lying dormant. That's what they tell me. The tumors are lying dormant. So that goes back to the scripture you say, you laugh at the days to come. I don't laugh because there's no laughing matter, but I do kind of laugh at how the enemy has tried to wipe me out so many times, and the Lord constantly stays his hand. And that's only one diagnosis. So anyway,
Right.
and again, my mother was here for a short time with me during this phase of my life. And she is the one who told me, she said, do not read a whole lot about this disease. She said, do not read upon it. She said, because the enemy will come in and he'll play games with your mind. She didn't say it like this, but this is exactly what she meant. He will come in and he will play games on your mind, meaning that, oh, if I cough, okay, then that's the disease taking over my lungs. So even though my mom is in the grave, her voice still rings loudly from the grave. And so from that day to this one, I do not do a lot of studying on scleroderma. Yeah, occasionally I'm kind of a little over the fear factor part of it to where I can kind of read a little bit about it because I think I do need to know something about it. And so, the doctors have given me Bibles on it. My husband reads about it. I don't read it, but occasionally I do. I do. And I do, I'm finding out that there are more people, um, who has it. As a matter of fact, and I'll be quiet. Um, Bob Saget, the actor who played Full House's father, he passed away too a couple of years ago. Well, about right when I was diagnosed with this disease, his only sister had it. Unfortunately, she passed away with it. They didn't really have the medications that they do now. They hadn't done enough studies. So being that he had goop gabs of money before he passed away, he went into he started a foundation, a scleroderma foundation in honor of his sister. And then when he passed away, his wife continues that foundation even to this day. So hopefully they can find a cure for it.
and you might be the advocate because it is a very rare skin disease or just a disease period. When I share this with different people that you have uh, this disease, they look at me startled or perplexed, like, what did you just say? Like sclera, what? And it's hard for me to even explain what it is or and I need to read more about it and get a better understanding of what it can do to the body and the side effects. But sharing your testimony with people and telling them, and we'll get into that right now, is how you and four sisters overcame breast cancer. Now, being that you did mention that you were around other women, other mothers in the church. I believe it was around this time when Sister Clemens gave you a series of different scriptures to quote to yourself, and you can say it better than me, but she told you to take it like medicine 3 times a day. I believe it was when you were diagnosed with scleroderma, but you can correct me. But there may be someone watching that do not have the faith or do not believe in God. We're on YouTube that's streaming all around the world. And this is called the reset blueprint because we're not only resetting in our natural lives, but this purpose is to reset spiritually. Now, you said that there is no cure as far as with medical use, and we do pray that there will be some type of medicine that will come out. But coming from the spiritual side, the faith side, you use the cure of scriptures, of saying words, saying something that gives life to yourself 3 times a day during that diagnosis of scleroderma and also breast cancer. What have you seen? What can you tell that person who may have felt like they lost faith because they have may be diagnosed with a sickness or cancer or breast cancer? What can you provide to them that has helped you overcome that stage of life?
Yes, it was shortly after your grandmother passed away, Sister Clemens gave me scriptures, healing scriptures, and she told me to take them 3 times a day like a medication. And so I did. At first, I dealt with a lot of depression during this time, especially after my mother had passed away, because she was my biggest cheerleader, during this time. I had a little son, you at home, my husband, so I'm still trying to be this wife that my mother instilled in me, and this wife and this mother. So I knew life had to go on regardless of my feelings, my emotions. But there were many days that I was very depressed during this time. And so again, Sister Clemens hands me this list of scriptures. And so what did I do? Um, I just began to read them. I just began to read them. Um, you know, I am he who heals, I can do all things through Christ who gives me the strength. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I shall live and not die and declare the works of the Lord. So just healing scriptures. And the more I read these scriptures, the better I felt, the more strength I could feel. And so I began to look in the mirror. I would take these scriptures along with me in the bathroom, and I would stand in front of the mirror and I would quote these scriptures. I am healed. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. I am the God who healeth thee. Uh, um, um, with long life will I
Feels
satisfy
them all.
thee. Yes, he who hides under the shadow of the Almighty. Just anything that was related to healing. That's what these scriptures were, these verses that she gave to me. And again, the more I read these scriptures, the better I began to feel. And so I credit Mother Clemens to seeing that. And that's why I knew when my mother left, these other women that I had grew up under, that was, that had been in my life all my life, they would kind of take over where my mother left off as far as being that motherly figure. And so I just praise God that we were around those group of women, those type of women, that not only did I see my mother's faith, but I saw their faith too, as a little girl, as a teenager, as a young adult growing up in this church where they were predominantly nothing but women, strong faith women who would get up and tell their testimonies, who would get up and share how God healed their bodies and how he took them through depression and things they went through with their spouses and with their children. So this is what was built up in me. I didn't know it was at the time. I'm still a little kid playing, doing whatever I was doing, but yet and still that word was going deep inside of my heart or inside of my soul, because the Lord knew that I would need them. He knew that I would need him. And so that I credit those scriptures to this day for being as well as I am. And the same thing when I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was about to fall out. There was my husband right there to catch me again. So what did I do? I did what I had been taught to do. Go back, get those scriptures, and began to rehearse them again. And that's what I did. I rehearsed those scriptures again, the same scriptures. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. It is he who giveth life. I came to give you life, and that more abundantly. No weapon formed against me. Yes, my days are numbered, but I'm not going anywhere, right? Just scriptures, just validating life, healing, and so yeah, that those scriptures
And what I
would
took out of that is being a better mother or being a good mom requires being around good community. You were
yes,
surrounded by women who instilled in you wisdom, understanding, knowledge, patience, endurance, because again, they all overcame, they were again in that era as my grandmother were under that era where they had to fight for their family to be strong women. And my grandmother was on my, at least my paternal grandmother, Gladys, was a single mother. She had to endure, and you saw that she attended that same church where you
yes,
saw how to be a strong woman amidst being alone. And
yes,
but being a good mother requires being having people pour into your future. And how they did that was you are a great mother now. That you probably motherhood probably wasn't even in your forecast or in your vision at that in your teenage years. I don't know. You can answer that if you want to, but they still they still put into you how to be not even just a mother, but being a strong woman. And being a good mother, I think, requires being around community. And you were around community that gave you the tools on how to be a strong woman. And so with that, you turn, like they said,
can
you
I say
turn,
something?
sure.
I heard someone say this, it might have been yesterday, and then I heard it again this morning, is that we don't we as mothers, we're not raising children, we're raising adults. And I thought that was so profound, because I had him, that's how we looked at it. I got these kids, I'm raising these kids, but really we're raising adults. We're hoping that we're instilling into you lasting, what word am I looking for? Lasting tools and skills that will prohibit you to become this great young man that you are. So I didn't just raise a kid, I was raising an adult. That's why my mother, she instilled in us how to be women, how to be wives, even before we were even thinking about being married. But yet and still she was modeling all of that for us. The Bible talks about a wife, she can build up her house, or she can tear it down with her hands. We didn't see that. We just saw, all we saw was our mother building her house, building her girls to become women, wives, models. You know what I'm saying? So again, I didn't just, now I know that I wasn't just raising Carrington to be a good kid. No, I was really raising Carrington to be a responsible adult. And so my mother, they probably didn't even realize that. And then they did, those women back there, they were very knowledgeable. So a lot of things they did, now we're just vocalizing it. Who knows? They probably knew I'm not raising kids, I'm raising adults. And so now I'm just hearing that. That might have been Tina Knowles, I heard say that yesterday, that she wasn't raising children, she was raising adults. So that's what I believe my mother was doing with us. She wasn't just raising girls. She was raising women, wives, responsible women, women who know how to build up a house, women who know how to respect themselves, respect others, you know.
And all of you, all five of you have attributes of her. All in
We do. I see
just
my
this
mother
one
in each
alone,
one of them.
cooking. Y'all have the gift of cooking that comes
And she
from her.
never let us cook.
I was going to say that she would not allow y'all in her kitchen. And so you turned, like I was going to say, you turned your test into a testimony. You have came out with the healing CD, or at that time it was a CD, and it's on everywhere they're streaming. It's on there too. Y'all can download if you want to. Please do. And then you have a cookbook. And I was telling my coworker she's creating a cookbook also, and I told her about how you created one also, and you put in all of grandma's recipes into that cookbook, or you compiled them into a cookbook. And so, being that cooking is your forte, it is your gift, and she had the gift of cooking, and she was a great cook. People have told you, you've gotten testimonies that people have said that by them eating your dishes or having something that you made has caused healing in their own body. How has that made you feel as being that you're enduring a sickness while cooking for other people? You know, we could talk about our former pastor's wife who said that she was healed through something that you made for her, or any other people have said that. How can you endure through that and then hear other people say they're healed through
Well, I wonder why I haven't been here. Why hasn't my own cooking, you know? Anyway, that was supposed to be a joke.
it?
You
I got
can't imagine, or I don't think no one can imagine how much joy that has brought to me when someone tells me that you're something you cooked for me felt like it was cleansing, it was healing their bodies. And I remember several times there were some of the women or the saints at our former church would tell my mother that it was something that she cooked for them, that they felt like they were healed from it. And so yes, that makes me feel, it made me feel real good, especially when I heard that from our former first lady. And so it was just a joy for me to cook dishes for her during her time when she was so ill. She requested that I would start cooking for her. And so I did it with a joyful heart. It was an honor. It was an honor.
Yeah. I will share her the link to her CD. Do you have any on hand that
I do. Let me see if I have one.
or even your cookbook? The name of her cookbook is Cute Girls Can
Can I
Cook.
go and grab it right quick? And the CD? Is that okay if I go and grab it right quick?
Just turn off your video.
Okay. You might have to come in here. Okay, I think I've got it.
Okay, you don't have to share. Okay, you did it. Well, we will. Hopefully, she comes back very quickly. But
I will.
being that you all, that this community, that I've checked the analytics of this, of my YouTube, of my podcast, and the majority is women based. And maybe God has me called to female. I don't know. But being that this is the Reset Blueprint podcast, and we are here to help everyone reset for a better tomorrow. the theme of this podcast is resetting for your next breakthrough. And how we do that is by having that mindset shift to want to reset. And we can provide all of the tools, all of the advice, but you have to have the mind to want to do it. And my mother, she has that willingness. I see her every day pushing every day to get out of the bed because whatever she may be going, her body is in pain. But I see through her is strength. She's the definition of strength. She's the definition of the want to do better in life, the want to reset. So you're back. So go ahead and share it.
Or should I bring them in there to you? Maybe you could show them better than me.
No, no, it's better. It's good. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, this is my first cookbook, Cute Girls Can Cook. This was inspired about 5 years ago. I began cooking and sharing my food to my little few friends on Facebook. And from there, it began to grow. My community began to grow. People began to inquire about my food. They wanted to know, did I have a cookbook? Do I sell my food? And so this was giving me ideas. No, but maybe I will. And so this is my first cookbook, Cute Girls Can Cook. It's sold all around the country through Facebook. Um, my videos have had thousands and thousands views of my cooking. And from there, I even started my own business, The Creative Kitchen. And it is a catering business. And this was a CD I did probably about 7 years ago. This is my personal testimony, an inspirational audio of healing scriptures and words of encouragement. This is just my journey of being diagnosed with scleroderma and all of the scriptures that Sister Clemens gave to me. So yeah, this is just my personal testimony. I believe it's $10. So yeah, everything about me during that phase is right here on this CD. Excuse me?
I said, you believe it's $10?
Do I believe it's $10?
You said, I believe it's $10.
Yeah, it's $10. We'll let it be 10. It's $10.
So, and I've been honored to be the photographer for those covers of her CD and the cookbook.
Exactly.
And I was there when she recorded for her for the scriptures, for the testimonies. So again, she has them on hand if you want her to drop them off or you come pick up. She can do that as well. And I will share the link to my hat that I'm wearing. I'll do that also. But before we close out, I do want to ask you, what does triumph mean to you as a woman of God? Because everyone is hearing your testimony, and I believe that your testimony is just scratching the surface. It has a lot of people have heard it, they've been blessed through it, but it's just beginning to be heard. And again, I believe that you will be an advocate for women who have been diagnosed with scleroderma. And there is a woman that I went to school. I went to school with her daughters at BAFA. I believe she has scleroderma also, or she's a part of that community, or at least knows someone that has it.
Yes,
But
yes, I know her.
she gleans faith from you to endure and get through this disease. So, what does triumph look like to you?
Well, let me first say this. Just today, someone told me, you don't know what you do for other people when you share your testimony. And the Lord told me a while ago that my misery um, has become my ministry. And a lot of times people think ministry is all glam. We just see the hype of those who are really, really preaching and teaching the gospel, and it does look glamorous for some, to hop on a plane and they're over here, and they hop on and you see them again, they're over in London, and you see them again, they're heading to Visalia. It looks glamorous, but when you hear their testimonies, you find out, man, I'm kind of glad I am who I am because again, ministry is not all, it's not all glam, it's not all easy. And I will share this that many people even have, you know, contacted my husband. I'm giving myself a little break off of Facebook. I just need it. I just need it. And so, but people have been asking, where is your wife? Where's Yolanda? Because she's such a blessing to me, being that I'm going through or whatever. And sometimes I don't get angry. I don't. I know it's a blessing, but sometimes I'll be like, if you guys only knew how I feel or how I felt today. It's not easy sitting on here. It's not easy being me. And then I, you know, and I still don't want to, I don't want to feel ungrateful. And I don't want the Lord to think that I'm ungrateful, which He knows my heart. He knows how I feel. But I said all of that to say this, that ministry is not easy. And I'm finding that out for myself that sometimes ministry you have to go even when you don't feel like it, because this is a path God has me on. Carrington, we didn't even touch 12 years after the diagnosis of breast cancer. A year ago, I was diagnosed with bone cancer.
Right.
So that's another. Now, probably if I didn't tell you that, you wouldn't know it. That's because God's hand is on me. But I said all of that to say this. You asked me, what does it feel like to be trying? Triumph? What did you ask?
What does triumphant or triumphant?
What does
What
triumphant
look
mean? Excuse me?
what does triumph look like to you?
What does it look like to me?
Well, I'll give an example. So we all were in a group chat today talking about the woman with the issue of blood, and she suffered for 12 long years, and we know the story, but it's it shows that just by one touch she was triumphant over 12 years of turmoil, 12 years of embarrassment, 12 years of the whys. I can look at her story and say that was a triumphant woman because she endured, she overcame a hurdle in her life. And so I think of that like as being triumphant. But in your own definition, what does that look like to you?
Triumphant for me looks like those who run in a race. They're really hoping, they have prepared for this race. They have put their bodies under subjection because they know what they're facing. They're only hoping that they win. You know, no one wants to come in second place. You know, all of the they didn't prepare this for nothing. They didn't put their bodies under subjection for nothing. They didn't you know, they didn't train for nothing. So triumphant for me looks like those in a race. They're running for the prize. And once they get there, once they see that they're ahead of everyone, they're not even looking back to see how far. You know, they just have one goal in mind, and that is to reach that finish line and break that ribbon when they get across. That's what triumphant means to me. It's the person who stays in the race. It doesn't look good. The race doesn't feel good. The preparation isn't good, but you know what's ahead. And I'm not just talking about heaven. I'm looking for my healing. So that's what triumphant looks for me, looks like to me. Just stand in the race, stand in your lane, preparing yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, doing what you have to do, doing what you feel like you need to do. I this with this last blow, I knew I needed to see a therapist. And sometimes nowadays it just seems like people throw that out there. I'm seeing my therapist. No, I really needed to see a therapist. I needed to talk to someone, or someone could listen to me with all my crazy thoughts. And they say, hey, that's not crazy. You have a right to feel that way. But let's see what we can do to bring all those emotions, all those feelings, all those fears. Let's see if we can bring them all to the table and they all work together. So that's why I needed to see a therapist. And so that's what triumphant looks like for me. Staying in the race, doing whatever it is necessary to be that triumphant person, if that makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
Thank you. So as we close, I want you to look in that camera like they always say. Look in that camera, and I want you to talk to that young mother who feels like that she's not doing enough, or she doesn't feel like that she's strong enough to keep going in this stage, or this new stage of life. I want you to give some words of advice, words of healing, words of life, um, and encouragement, and you can end a prayer wherever you feel led to. But just talk to that young lady and give her what you got from the mothers of the church. What can you pass down to the next generation of mothers?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say happy Mother's Day to all you wonderful, resilient mothers. If I could, I would give you all a cake, a rose, just to tell you how wonderful you are. Even on the days when you don't feel wonderful, you are, because you stayed, because you're modeling what it is to be a mother. And that's probably the hardest job in the world, is being a mom, because you have to be present even when you don't feel like it. So again, I salute you, I honor you, and just know that God is fighting for you. So Carrington, thank you for making me a mom. I like to tell you that. Thank you for making me a mother. And can I tell you how proud of you I really, really am? I think I tell you that quite often. But you make me proud every day. And you make me mad every day too. But for the most part, I am very, very honored to be your mother. And I think your dad and I did a pretty good job of raising an adult, a responsible adult. So thank you. But anyway, I don't know what I can say other than when you look at me, just know that you're looking at someone who has gone through tests and trials, someone who has battled, or someone who is battling health issues. And there are days when I don't feel like getting out of bed, and I praise God for the life that He has given me. There are days I don't get out, and I don't have to. So I praise God for that. And Carrington asked again, what does triumphant look like to me? Triumphant looks like every woman who's out there who's trying to push through. That's what triumphant means to me, looks to me. Not just me in my situation, but every woman I see, whether you're working or you're not, or you're going back to school, or you're just trying to make it, you're just trying to muster through to take care of those babies, to take care of those kids. You're giving your last to make sure they have a pair of shoes. That's what triumphant means to me. That's what it looks like to me. And so if I could just offer a word of encouragement, just like to say, stay in the race, for the race is not given to the swift, nor to the strong, but it is given to he who endureth until the end. He or she who endureth until the end. That's who the race is given to. And so just know that you are valuable. You are loved. and you are needed. And so I pray for you that God will give you everything you need. You know, never look at yourself as a failure. Look at me. I'll be 60 years old and I just enrolled back in school. I'll be going back to school. Someone told me you should go back and become a therapist. With all what you've gone through and going through, you'll have a lot to share with people. So if I can help one person, if I can help 1,000, then that's what I'll do. So I hope I've made you proud, son.
Oh, most definitely. You make me angry every day too.
Excuse me?
I say you make me angry every day too.
I'm sure I do. I'm my mother,
You're a mother. You
and
wouldn't
she
be
did
doing
not
it.
play.
Well, this has been great. I will
Yeah.
definitely have you on this podcast to share more of your story because there's more to share,
Oh, yes.
more, there'll be more wins, and people will hear more of you. So, to all the Reset community out there, don't forget this motto. Don't forget our motto. Your next reset is tied to your next breakthrough. See you on the
Yes.
next episode of the Reset Blueprint Podcast. And happy Mother's Day to all
Happy
of the
Mother's Day, everyone.